Gundam.tk presents Master Grade, Age-1 Sparrow. Hey, what's up again everybody? It's Robert184, 2Rs, 2Bs from GundamReviews.net, and after the Age-1 Normal and the Age-1 Titus in Master Grade, it's time to take a look at the Sparrow, which you can see back there all the way in old school high grade 1/144th. But the plates are empty, so let's see how the parts stack up for this 3,500 yen Master Grade. I've got to tell you though that when you put everything together, it's going to feel very unsubstantial because you're just going to be getting small body parts which are slender overall, including a backpack. Pretty much all you're going to be getting in terms of weapons and accessories is that Shigeru blade. You're going to be getting 5 small figures here in total, 3 flit, 2 seated, and 1 Yurin La Latifa soon. To go along with the fact that you're going to have 2 of these open 4-finger ones to go along with the weapon holding ones. Custom action base there for action base 1. And you are going to have some up-down fingers, so you can have 4 sets up and 4 sets down there. Of course, I've got 2 already on the body on each hand. So let's get right into my big complaint first, and that's when I put this together, I felt a little bit cheated, it seems, for 3,500 yen. Cheated may be too strong a word here, but all you're getting is these skinny little limbs, 1 blade, and the fact that you're going to be throwing away 2 of these if you follow the directions. And you've got an extra set of fingers, yeah, that's cool, but outside of putting together the A, B, C, D, E, F parts for the chest and head, really, this is the only kind of new thing that you're going to be getting for this kit, and if you compare it to something else like the RX-78 4 or 5, where for I think about 2,800 yen, you're just getting a lot more weapons, it just seems like this one could have been a little bit cheaper in the price MSRP department. But then again, as a lead Gundam, of course, I'd be paying pretty much any price that they would charge me, but why don't you let me know what you think with a comment down below. On to the good stuff though with the parts. First of all, up at the top when you put this on, these parts here, you've got to be careful to make sure you put them on the right, left, or right leg. The correct leg, I should be saying. And they are going to fit down, but they've just got 4 little triangle things on, and they're going to pop off at the drop of a hat. I'd imagine it's even going to be worse if you try to utilize the hip mechanisms, which are going to move up and down there, and don't forget the waist section can pivot forward and back. Overall, you do have some cool details there. This is a small blue piece, so you're going to see some thrusters there. You've got a little bit of veins there. It is asymmetrical, so you're going to have a little bit difference here on the outside of the leg compared to the inside. But in terms of the bend, you can see that it's going to bend 90 there, and then it's going to give you this. So I'd say about a 135 as it gets into that thruster. But it is a nice looking combination there. And when you do that, you're going to be able to bend down this blue part and actually reveal the needles, which are actually going to look pretty good if you bend it all the way down. Now this is one of the few places where you're going to notice the fact that unlike the high grade where it was gray all around, you're going to be getting this darker color here that was just on the one plate. Let's just call it black for argument's sake here. And when you take a look down at the bottom, you're going to have the ankles, which is going to move forward and back. The feet themselves are going to be pretty solid. You can see that they do have a big swing of motion. And something that's sort of interesting, though, is that the toe is hardly going to move. It just feels like a little bit loose. It is going to move about that much there. And on the back, you actually have this part here, which you can slide forward. And you can see that that may just offer a little bit of extra support if you need some extra long size 13 shoes. The waist section is looking pretty cool and very minimalist, as is befitting somebody who's going to be kicking all the time with a knee to the face and some needles to go along with that. First of all, as mentioned, you're going to have this hip mechanism which can rotate forward and back. I haven't really used it on my Age-1 Normal or Titus, but the Sparrow may be the one who uses it the most. And when you go to the back, you're going to have independent moving skirts as you saw on the front and back, to go along with this, which is going to go up and down pretty easily. I don't know if any others have had problems with these waist skirts in general. It's more of an issue when it's in the parts phase here, but I have broken these kind of parts before. So anyway, just everybody be careful. It was very clever of Bandai to keep most of these in common. They could have just built the waist section separate, but because they have these gray parts that are in common, anyway, it just seems like there's more parts to break and fall off. But I never get tired of this chest section. You can see that that's going to move there, that's going to move there. You can open up the cockpit in the coolest way by taking that, pulling it open, and seeing a tiny flit on the inside. Yeah, I've got an extra one here, and you can have that computer or monitor fall down. You've got vents already cut out of the yellow there, and a nice solid gray piece there to go along with the shoulders, which are molded nicely in blue. And yes, what a race car spoiler, fitting a Fast and the Furious 6. Back to the new stuff though, and the Adele and the Sparrow are both going to have very similar shoulders here. You can see that you're going to have this moving part here on the inside, but you're also, this was advertised on the box, going to be able to move that white one. It's just a little bit stiff there. You can see that it's going to get stuck underneath there. But anyway, it's very cool to see such a narrow set of shoulders here. Which is just perfect for the old wink in the gun here that you're going to get with this set of hands. Starting up at the shoulders, you're going to have this gray one, which is going to rotate around, and this part here doesn't seem to want to move very freely. I wonder if that's going to change at all once it's actually attached on. But for the bend at the elbow, you're going to be able to move it up and up, so you're going to get about a little over 135, I suppose, there. Down here for the gimmick that a high grade can have these move in, so can the master grade, and they move independently here, so you reveal a little bit of thrusters with some lining in there. And it was actually fun to put this together, and it actually does feel fairly solid, this one more so than this one. Again, you're going to have these two color tones here, the gray and the black. You're not really going to notice it, and this is going to be buried anyway, but it is more offset when you get into the hands here. Great to see these small rotating parts there for the wrist, and you're going to have an independent moving thumb, but these, you cannot move the fingers. You can, however, do different things with these, like swap out the weapon grasping hands, the open reaching for the destiny of the future kind of hands, and you can have 2 of these closed ones if you choose to, and 2 of these long ones, so that he can do the live long and prosper. To the Shigeru blade, which is going to look really good just because it's the clear green plastic, which unlike some of the 00 kits where it would have been very nice to be getting more clear green. Anyway, towards the end of the line we did, and certainly did with the master grade, so no complaints there. Some people are probably unhappy about the fact that you've got a white handle here, including the fact that it's going to go through. I don't really seem to mind it there. You've got a good gray grip, and you can see some lining opportunities there, but overall it just seems a little bit out of proportion in the large direction, and that's probably a good thing just for cool poses. If you pop down the back of the armor and you're not afraid of anything falling off, you can just see that this is going to fit in quite nicely and have a nice little click sound there as it goes into the white part, and you can actually support the waist section there, so it's in there pretty good. And though I'm far from a Warhammer painter, I have to say that I'm actually appreciating these little figures that we're getting with the Age-1. It's great that we're getting the same flit over and over again, I suppose. You can just have some extra bodies kicking around. But in terms of this one, the fact that you actually get a little bit of storytelling here, you've got another seated and another standing flit, but in this case you can take the small urine, and as somebody pointed out, her name does sound just absolutely fine in Japanese. It's only when I anglicize it here for the sake of these videos that I have to laugh a little bit, unlike the new captain of the 3rd generation. But you can see him getting ready to put that fateful ribbon into her hair before, yes, the Farsha and the Zetis and the Sparrow all have something to say about this romantic situation. And the head of the Age-1 never gets old with that quality gray striping there, the gray inner frame underneath that you put the white part on, and you'll notice that I went with the old school seals as opposed to the clear one there, so no blacklight action on this one. So that's going to wrap up my look at the parts of this Age-1 Sparrow, and I have to say that yes, it still comes across as being slightly disappointing just in the fact that there's not really that much to it. You've got small limbs, not a lot of extras, and it just seems slightly overpriced. It could have been cheaper. But overall, the actual engineering itself, the legs were a lot of fun to put together, as were the arms and the shoulders. The weapon is looking good, and I never get tired of building this chest and head. It's not repetitive at all because it's just so well designed. Anyway, looking forward to seeing these weapons and legs in action. Sort of cool that they've got that bonus of that part sliding out, but otherwise I wonder if it's going to have any issues standing up. My high grade goes toppling all the time, but then again it's because I try to do silly poses with them. But with small feet to this size, you wonder if it's going to be enough to keep him on them, or if gravity's going to be the victor. Anyway, everybody, why don't you let me know what you think of the parts, and stay tuned to check out the mobile suit all put together. And as always, thanks for watching, guys. Please put a comment down below, and we'll see you next time. Bye. Clear parts, schmear parts, dip. That's the key to any good Champions League final party.